Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting of April 6th? 7th already. Okay, April 7th. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast by local access programming and with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. Is there anyone here recording tonight's meeting? Seeing no one else recording it, I hereby call this meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. I'll have a roll call of members that are here.
Jim Foran.
Kate Thompson.
Josiah Birch.
And Mark Mungem. We're going to take, you want to go first? Very first?
It's up to you.
All right. We're going to take item number 7 first, certificate of compliance and extensions. Request for certificate of compliance continued for Beals and Associates, The Cubes, 123 Gilboa Street, map 139, lot 1. Where we left this off was we had requested that the erosion control barriers be removed as a final condition of compliance. So,
That was done?
welcome. You can state your name and
Sure. Todd Morey, with Beals Associates.
Thank you,
Here
Todd.
representing CRG.
all right. So where are we at, Todd?
So the erosion controls have been removed. The site looks very good. Even in some of the perimeter areas, there's water ponding where it should be. There's, more importantly, there's not water ponding where water should not be ponding. And all the work has been completed.
Okay. The big detention basin has been draining? Infiltrating?
I've not been able to catch water in it.
Okay.
I've come down a couple of times in the middle of rainstorms. I haven't caught water.
So it's working.
Yeah. Your economic development director has told me he's tried to catch water in it. He said he's seen a couple inches in the bottom, but I haven't seen it myself.
Okay. Samantha, do you know if you've seen it or Brandon has seen it, and if
Yep.
you have a report for us?
Yes, so I went out and did a final site inspection of the site. I have some pictures up here. I walked around the entire site, and it looks good. They did remove the erosion controls. You can see underneath here where they just kind of cut and took out the mesh and left the straw there, which is fine. And that's under the bridge. And here's the large detention basin. They removed all the erosion controls around it. And it looks stable, and everything looks good on our end. So we recommend a complete COC.
Okay. Thank you. Do they seed where they remove the erosion control barriers, or do they just let it
They just let it grow.
grow?
Yeah.
Okay. Any comments from commission members? Any thoughts, concerns? All right.
Let me make a motion.
Yep.
Make a motion for certificate of compliance for DP 143-1042, Beals Associates, The Cubes, 123 Gilboa Street, map 139, lot 1, to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kate. Roll call vote.
Jim Foran, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Thank you very much. And before I get out of here, I just want to say, on behalf of the project team, we appreciate your patience on this. I know there was a few sessions of hand-wringing and teeth gnashing, but like I said, I appreciate your patience, the work of your consultants as well. I think it came out pretty well.
And yeah, we thank you for your attention to detail over these last several months to have it be completed and be completed correctly. I know you had issues with the detention basin, so I appreciate the changes that you made to the design and making sure that it was right. So,
Perfect.
thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go back to new business. Item number 1, public meeting, request for determination of applicability, Sandra Bradley, 63 Depot Street, for a pool, map 169, lot 52. Do you want to waive the
Make a motion to waive the reading.
Motion's been made to waive the reading of the public meeting notice. All those in favor?
Jim Thorne, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Is there someone here to represent the project, please? Anyone here? This is Sandra Bradley, 63 Depot Street? No? All right.
I do have photos if you'd like to see.
Sure, the meeting's open. We can look at the photos. If Ms. Bradley doesn't make it, or a representative doesn't make it, maybe we can hold off on doing any more for this tonight, and maybe we can go back to it, unless there's someone on Zoom representing this project? Nope, no one's remote. Okay, let's look at the photos.
So this RDA is for, I believe it's an above-ground pool, but it's a pool. So this is the location that the pool will be set in. They have a hand-drawn plan. If you guys would like to see it, it may be in your booklets, but it's just a little hand-drawn plan. The wetlands are set back beyond this fence back here, so we're within the buffer zone. It's all existing lawn in this area. This is just panning around the yard. So there's the fence. So it's somewhere beyond back here that the wetlands are located. We didn't have any additional comments or concerns on it. We recommended a negative determination. It's with an existing lawn. So that's what we have for this one, if you have any additional questions, but
How far is it from the wetland?
it's plus or minus. It's kind of hard to tell because this fence is up. It's definitely within 100 feet. It's probably a little bit over 50 feet, but
Oh, really? Yeah, Mark, I think it's a good idea to have her come, tell us what's up.
Do you know if the pool is proposed for within those concrete blocks?
I believe that's where it is. That's where it seems. I can bring up that little plan, but that's all we got from it. They're not recommended to have, they don't need to have an engineered plan for an RDA, so they can submit a plan like they did, just a hand-drawn one, so
Right.
I can bring that up. But I do think that that's where, is it showing it? Let me get it up.
Is this
I
going to
mean-
be in ground or above?
Above ground, I
Above.
believe,
I just wanted to make sure.
from the notes.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
sketch plan that they have here shows the shed, and then
Yeah.
an area of 18 by 33 next to the shed, and then some kind of koi pond or something.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's accurate. So that picture that I showed would be where it would be
It would be where the
located.
blocks are,
Yep,
which is already a disturbed area.
yep.
All right. Well, how about if we just keep this open for right now, and maybe they're listening or watching, and they can maybe come to the meeting, and, because we're going to be here for another hour.
On, because there was someone on that
Oh, yeah.
logged on twice, so I don't know if it's them or not.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right, well, we'll put that aside for right now. All right, we'll open up number 2, item number 2, 6:30 PM, order of condition amendment, DP number 143-1083, public hearing for order of conditions amendment by Jacob Bloniaz, 125 Ledgestone Road, for a deck addition, map 110, lot 11. Do you want to waive the reading of the
Make
public?
a motion to waive the public notice.
Motion's been made to waive the reading of the public notice. Roll call vote.
Jim.
Or no, we need a second on that?
Second.
Is there a second? Thank you, Kate, for a second. Roll call vote.
Jim Thorne, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Meeting is now open. Someone here to represent this project?
Good evening.
Hello.
Jake Bloniaz, 76 Manchog Street.
Hey, Jake, thank you.
Yep. See you guys again.
Yeah. So this is a project which we have an existing order of conditions on. Jake came before us last week and asked for a determination, a request for determination of applicability.
Right, last month, yep.
And we talked about it, discussed it, and had a vote and asked him to come back as an amendment as opposed to
Correct.
requesting a request for determination of applicability. So you're coming back with an amendment?
Sir.
All right. Can you just explain the project
Sure.
one more time?
Yep. So we're looking to build an 8 by 28 foot pressure treated deck. I guess you call it on the back of the house, which is facing the water. Wish I was more prepared. There was an pre-existing cottage there at the time. Came before the board a couple of years, I think last year. We got the approvals to rebuild, so we're in the process of building the house now. Currently, the building permit itself doesn't include the deck, so we're looking to add this deck at this time. I tried to keep the deck no deeper than 8 feet off the house, so that it's, I believe, 17 feet from the wetlands. Trying to keep it further back than what was pre-existing, which was at like 13 feet, I think, from the water. So we've been able to keep it back further than what was there, but the ground in that area is all it's all grass or dirt. It was basically pre-disturbed, I guess, is probably how you would describe it. But it was used as lawn, and it's where the existing cottage was prior. So there would be 4 footings. So like I said, it'd be the width of the main box of the house, 28 feet, 8 feet deep off the house, and that includes 4 post footings.
So the work that's within the buffer zone is the construction of the 4 footings?
Correct.
What is under the deck?
Under the deck.
How high is the deck?
The height of the deck is probably going to be around, it's a slab, so I think it's going to be about probably around 8 feet high. There's probably about 8 foot clearance under there.
So it'll be gravel
Yes.
or existing
Or
material,
lawn.
whatever existing material is underneath?
Yes.
But there'll be the 4 piers, if you will?
Sure, right.
So built like a sonotube type of pier with, okay, posts coming up the 8 feet.
That's the plan.
And how will that be, how will you set the piers? You hand dig those?
I guess that's a good question for the builder. I know he was tossing up the idea of whether they would be the precast cement style or they have the style where you can twist, basically you twist them into the ground. He said he'd know once he got into it what would work best for that style of footing, but unless the board has a preference on what kind of footings you would use up there.
The building right commission, you determine the type of footings, I don't.
No, I don't know. I really don't know. You have some pictures?
I do, yep. So I visited the site. It's all within existing disturbed area. So this is the house under construction right now. It is very close to the pond. So this is kind of, you can see from here, this is where the area that the deck would be. It would come out in this spot here. So Brandon and I talked about it. It is within existing disturbed area. So we don't have any specific comments on it. They don't have to take down any trees. This is what the area kind of looks like. It's all gravel. The erosion controls are still holding up. The comment I would have on it, just for your contractor, is there's just trash everywhere around the site, and it should be picked up before it flies into the resource area, definitely.
Absolutely.
So, other than that, I don't have any further comments. We recommend approving the amended order of conditions, and that's that for this one.
Is that erosion control in the proper place that was approved as part of the order conditions?
Yes,
It
as
seems
far as...
very, very close to the water.
Let's see. If I look at this. It looks, when I look at the plan, it does look like it's at the very top of the bank there. It is very close to the water. You're correct. I do think that's where it was proposed to be, just by looking at this.
Where are the stairs?
So the engineer, he had put a note, basically on the, I don't know what side there would be, if you're looking at the house from the water, the right side was the intended area. He had noted that the exact number of steps and stairs would be determined in the field. He put a note here, he's got the, like I said, he's got the line drawn to the right side of the deck if you're looking at it from the water. Nothing coming off the front whatsoever. I think even at that, it was going to go back towards the side of the house.
Which plan are you looking at where it shows it?
Actually, it's the
'Cause I
basement
can't see.
level of, I just have a full-size
See the
plan, but
architect-
when you look at the basement level, give it a hand, Steve.
Can you put a picture of like the side part over there? Because on the right where the date is, that's where you're saying the stairs would be coming from, correct?
Right, like basically, exactly.
Okay.
Coming off this side, and I believe there was the pitch backwards going towards the back of the property along the side, is my guess. But again, they said that would be determined.
He wants to see it. It's right here.
Here.
Is that in our?
Yeah, it is.
Sorry.
Second to last page.
Just hidden.
I have a question. How far would the tubes be to,
The tubes,
mean, is the deck
I know
gonna-
the very front, the very closest point of the proposed deck is 17 feet and some inches, I can check for you right now.
I mean, are the tubes going, is the deck going to like overhang the tubes? Like, it's going to be like,
I would assume by at least a couple feet, yeah.
Yeah, generally they do.
Yeah, just a bit though, not
yeah,
much.
not much?
Yeah.
No.
It looks like even that would still be within the pre-existing area.
Yeah, I think on the plans,
I think 3 feet is like the max, I think, don't quote
Well, you
me,
can't,
for the overhang from where the tube is to extend past the deck. But
I don't know what the proper term is, but to, like have a, where there's no support there, but like an
The
overhang.
cantilever.
Well,
Cantilever, yeah.
This plan here shows the
Without-
locations for the piles in relation to the edge of the deck, and they are inside the edge of the deck. The picture here on the plan shows that the disturbance
Oh, I see.
is 17 feet. So I'm assuming that the piles are going to be 20 feet
something like that. correct.
from the water's edge, or from the buffer zone. No, from the water's edge. Because if we approve this, I believe that the deck, the extent of the deck is to the 17 feet, not where the work is, not where the,
right.
That's the way the plan.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because when they go to lay it down, it just extends past the
Oh.
tube or whatever you're going
Right.
to use for it.
Okay.
so this, that edge right there is 17 feet. This
Yeah.
is
20.
Approximately 2 to 3 feet in,
Yeah.
so that's going to be 20 feet or so from the water, or from the bank.
And there was already a house there previously, the cottage, that sat on that
Right.
spot anyways.
Yeah, that still wouldn't be any more than.
What was
there,
originally
would it?
there?
That's a question, I guess, more than a statement.
I don't know what was 13 feet 9. I mean, I can't see what it,
It's-
I can't see it on here.
it's
Can you
light-
see
it's-
it on the big plan?
It's lightly, it's shaded, but that, it'll say, it's where the old cottage was with a deck attached. That was, that front side of that cottage was 13.1, I want to say, feet
I have a copy.
from the water's edge. She had it on the, I'm sorry, I thought it was, I think it should be attached. The plot plan was showing the,
This, the engineered plan or
engineered
the,
plan from OHI, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So you'll see
looking
on
like-
there, see that light, this light gray?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's the main house.
I don't see any distances on this one. Let's see. Maybe the one I have in here will,
Looks like, if I'm reading the correct place, it looks like 11.9 feet in one area and 14.7 in another, but I'm not sure if that's correct.
Oh.
I think the 14.7 that you're reading, that's to the new septic
Got it.
tank?
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So be above it.
So if you look up, yeah, if you look up on the page, you'll see 17, well, you see 17.1, then up further, up from that, you'll see 13.9.
Got it.
And that is the, and then if you look at that outline, that's the outline of the pre-existing deck that was off, coming off the cottage that was there. And then as you see that, you can pick up on the rest of the cottage that was there as well.
So is it the same? According to that, right, if that's 13.9 was the old one, right?
Correct.
Yes.
That's what
And then now
Jacob's
it's going to
saying.
be 17.1,
Yeah.
Correct.
so which is further than what it was originally.
Yes.
Okay.
Any comments from anybody in the public regarding this proposal? Anybody remote want to have anything to say? Hearing nobody? What's your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts? Do you want to have any more discussion on this, or should
I
we?
would
Do we
be
need to?
okay, considering that it was 13 point whatever from previous, and it's being pushed back anyways to the 17, and then, like you said, 20 times you, where the footing's actually gonna go. So, be okay with that.
Make the footings no closer than 20? Can we do that?
Sure, absolutely.
And I would want to condition it also to make sure, because the stairs aren't explicitly shown on here, that the stairs are never any closer than the 17 feet, and preferably 20 feet.
Okay, yep. Absolutely.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
footing's no closer than 20 feet and what?
The stairs down, because the stairs are only like 4 feet wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
4
should
to
be about
5
4
feet.
feet wide, and that's, I'm guessing, I know the side, that side is the, where he was gonna look to put the set of stairs, so.
So, yeah, I'd like to have the landing be 20, no closer than 20.
Yeah.
It should be
Yeah.
okay, I think.
Okay.
I'm not trying to burden you or
No, I don't
whatever,
think
but
that's
I
a
think
problem.
that can work. I
Yeah,
just
I-
want to have something.
Right.
All right,
Like I said, I believe the direction of the stairs were gonna go towards the back of the property anyways.
kind of wrap around?
Yeah, right.
Okay, that'd be great. All right.
Before we vote, I just couldn't vote last time because
You can,
I can now.
yes,
Just want to check.
yeah,
So 20 feet for the stairs?
yeah,
Okay.
the edge of stairs. All right. So, yeah, we can make a motion to close the public hearing.
Jim Ford, make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second on that?
Second.
All right, have a, roll call vote for closing the public hearing,
Jim Ford, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Josiah Birch, aye.
and Mark Mungem, aye. So you want to make that motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the OOC amendment, DP 143-1083, for the order of conditions for 125 Ledgestone Road, deck addition, map 110, lot 11, for approval with the amendment of having the footings no closer than 20 feet and the stairs 20 feet also, no closer than 20 feet to the water, right?
To the high water mark, or whatever the jurisdictional line is here, the bank.
To the bank.
Top of the bank. Is that right? Is that top of bank?
It would be, yes, it would be top of bank. Now, when I'm looking at this hand-drawn plan that you guys were referring to with the 17.1 and the 13.9, it looks like that 17.1 is, according to this plan, reaching the high water mark. Now, which would be different than the top of bank, which is where the erosion control barriers are currently. So that was based off of the high water, it seems, by looking at this plan.
Right, so as long as our condition is based on the high water mark,
Yes.
we're in conformance with this plan?
You should be, yes.
Right,
Yep.
okay. All right, is there a second? So moved. Second?
So moved.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Kate. All right, roll call vote.
Jim Foran, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you for coming back.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Good idea.
All right. Next up, item 3, another order of conditions amendment. DEP number 143-1014, public hearing for Edward McLean, 34 Grove Street, restoration plan, map 143, lot 2. Really?
I think
Yeah,
that,
maybe.
Good evening.
Good evening.
hello.
Margaret Bacon. I'm representing Ed McLean from Civil Site Engineering, and we're here requesting an amendment to an existing previously permitted project at 34 Grove Street. So a couple of things going on with this job. And I do have, I don't know if you have this online. or-
Yeah, I can get that. Get that up. Nope, that's the wrong one.
This is the restoration plan. Mr. McLean, I think it was early this year, hired an arborist to come out and examine some large pines. This was a whole white pine stand at one time, and when they built this house, all the white pine, the large white pines outside the 50-foot buffer zone remain. And what happened recently over the last few years, some of those large white pines started to blow over. And actually, some of them still are blowing over now. If you go down into the wetlands at the crossing, you'll see, I was down there actually a couple weeks ago, and one of them blew over onto the electric lines going up the driveway. And the electric company was there, and that's the third time they've been there repairing the electric line. So anyways, he had an arborist come out and look at all the trees that were a potential hazard to the house. And he had them all cut down. And unfortunately for him, he didn't realize he needed to get a permit for that. So I was contacted through Matt Benoit and Ed McLean, and I went out there and I located all the trees that were removed. And what I did is on this plan, all the different trees, and I have a list of the trees that were removed, and they're all white pines, in the different size. So I have an inventory of about 69 trees that were removed, anywhere from 10 inches, and one was a large 48 incher, but most of them were around 18 inches and 24 inches that were removed. All the stumps are still in place. Now, also with this plan, Mr. McLean has also talked to a landscaper, and he does plan on conducting some landscaping, which he'd like to start this spring, during the planting season, and revegetate those areas where those big pines were removed. So I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at this landscaping plan at all, but he does have a lot of natural plants, native plants, and basically, he's trying to create something positive out of a situation, and I think he's done a nice job, or the landscape has really done a nice job at creating kind of the edge effect here between the wetlands and the wetlands are basically 90% all large white pines.
We don't even have that plan.
What's that?
I don't even have that plan.
Is it this one in here?
No.
Here, I got
I
some
don't believe so.
smaller ones here if you want.
Yep. We would like that, or I would like that.
No.
So what I'm going to give you the restoration plan, okay? And the second sheet is the plan that was permitted several years ago. I think, Mark, you're probably the only one on the commission that was here during that.
I'm an old timer.
Okay. And then before that, I don't think you're this old, but here was the original heritage design plan, okay? So here's all three. Okay, I got several copies here.
Okay.
Do you need one, Jim?
Yes.
None of these are that plan, though.
No, well, there should be
No, there isn't.
Oh, that, yeah.
the landscaping plan.
Yeah, I had asked Jen if I thought Jen said that she printed it out.
Here's
Is this considered one?
here's a small one if you want to take this. I only have one here, but it shows a lot of the plants that
I have one,
they're
too.
proposing.
Is it in your packet?
Yeah, I have.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
an old plan. There's a history to this project.
No, this one's different.
Yeah, that's from the landscaper.
Oh,
I don't think you have that one, Josiah.
Nope.
Do you want this one, Josiah?
Yeah, and then on the second page, it's all the plantings that are proposed.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So that's part of this
Are those all
restoration
native
plan.
to what's in that area?
What's that?
Are those all like the native ones?
Native,
The
yes.
proposed
Yeah,
to that
yeah.
area?
Yeah, I went through the entire list.
Okay.
And balsam fir, river birch. What else do we have here? Bunchberry, plethora, winterberry, rhododendron, red spruce. So he has a nice mixed bag of ground cover, and then shrubs, fruit-bearing shrubs, and fruit-bearing ground cover, and then some trees. So you kind of create that edge effect between his lawn and then up to the white pine stand, which creates a little more diverse habitat than what's there now. And then we have the replication area down at the bottom we can talk about later that we're going to include in this project too, to finish that up.
Okay? So the applicant's before us to change to amend the order conditions, correct?
Yes,
Because of
all these trees
to
and-
address something that was incorrectly done.
That's correct.
I find it disappointing that so many trees, 69 trees were removed?
Yes.
69 trees were removed to protect the house.
Yeah, if you go up.
I mean, some of these are a long ways away from the house.
Well, I don't know, we had Ed, you want to come up and talk about that?
Is there a thing from the arborist?
And they were all considered to be hazardous.
Two
And
certified arborists identified the trees. I let them identify them. I did not pick any out. And they took the ones that the arborists determined to be hazardous to the house and property.
Could you just state your name and
I'm
address
sorry,
for the
Edward
record?
McLean, 34 Grove Street.
do we have a letter in our pamphlet
From the arborist?
from the arborist?
I
Have you seen that?
Previously submitted it.
You did.
The RDA?
Yes, with the previous one.
So initially filed an RDA, and then it was recommended that, since this permit was still open, do an amendment to address it. And so I think we're on the agenda later to close out that RDA.
But yes, I have a letter detailing everything.
I vaguely remember, it's coming back to me, so I do think I remember seeing that long letter.
This is, I have it up at the moment. This was the letter from November of 2024 from the arborist.
Okay. Which, that should be attached to this as well.
Okay, yeah, I don't, Jen didn't.
That's all right. I'm just saying, I
Yeah.
think that we should have that as part
Yeah.
of this application, even though it was
It
part of the
might be,
RDA.
is it under the RDA tab maybe, instead of this one?
I didn't see it.
No?
It's a good thought.
The RDA is number 4.
Oh, that's
Oh,
next, huh?
The landscape plan is here.
Yeah,
But
so,
Ah, there's the landscape plan.
Yep.
And the,
I
okay,
just don't see the, oh, the letter's in the very back.
all right, thank you.
so I do have some photos if you'd like to see them.
Sure.
I did do a site visit. As Margaret was talking about, there's several different aspects to this amended order of conditions, but I'll start with the pictures. And we can go through that. All right, so here's coming in from the end of the driveway. You got a long driveway coming in, and now this is turning, facing back out, but this was the original wetland crossing, so it's growing back pretty well, slopes look good, there's a culvert underneath it that connects both sides, so I have BVW on our right side, and then as well as on our left side. So this is just looking at that. So this gives you a general idea of what the wetlands look like on site, lots of pines. And now we're turning towards the house, and this location here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, is where the wetland replication area will be taking place. Now, as Margaret stated, originally approved under the order of conditions, there was a wetland replication area on both sides of the driveway. So the total amount for the 2 wetland replication areas was 2,700 square feet. So that's what they had originally proposed for this. So when this new plan came in, they moved it to one side to avoid taking down more pines in the wetland or around the wetland on the other side. They wanted to avoid taking pines down on that side. So they moved the wetland replication area to this side. The one caveat with that is it's now 2,735 square feet. So it's reduced in size slightly since moving over to the other side. That is just one part of this. Now, this was before Brandon and my time here. I know Margaret had met Steve Ziskow on site several times. So this replication area had already been dug out. So at the moment, there's hydrophytic vegetation growing in pretty well. You can see standing water there. It looks good, but the plantings have not been planted yet. So that's kind of what they're wrapping in here, is to do the plantings. Now, originally, again, there was 2 separate wetland replication areas. There was originally 69 plants. It's now down to 41 that need to be planted in this area. So the area is a little bit smaller. I think it won't need to be dug down anymore because things are already growing in fairly well, but this is where the planting needs to happen. So that's one aspect of this. And then as I go through, you can get an idea of what the area of tree cutting looks like. So I'm gonna
And
go.
also, that's a good example of all the pines that just recently fell down.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of down trees there.
So we're going up. Now this is looking at the back of the house. So this is the area you can see where all of these pines were cut down. You can see the wetland flag, the old wetland flag right here. So they were cut right up to the wetland line, all within probably the 50-foot buffer zone. So this just gives you a general idea. We reviewed the restoration plan, as Margaret spoke about before. Everything is native species. The only comment that Brandon and I had was a couple of them are cultivars. So they've been propagated a certain way for them to have, say, for example, the winterberry gets propagated in a certain way for it to have brighter berries. So that was one of Brandon's concerns. I mean, as I said, they are native, but they're cultivars, a few of them, not all of them. So we recommend sticking with completely native, but that's up to the commission to decide. So that's our comments on that. If you guys have any additional questions.
Can you tell us which ones?
Yes, I can. Give me 1 second. I know the winterberry was one of them, the red Sprite winterberry. So that red Sprite winterberry was a cultivar. The American Gold Rush rutabaga is a cultivar. Not too many of them. Let's see. The Durahit River Birch is a cultivar. The Avondale Red Bud cultivar. And then the Lilac Cranesbill is a cultivar as well.
Wow.
So.
So switch those out to native.
Yeah, and we had.
All right, I got 3 of them. I missed one. The red bud?
Your red Sprite winterberry.
Red Sprite, I got that one, yep.
Yep, and then the American Gold Rush rutabaga.
Where is that?
The last one.
That's the
Oh, okay, yeah, under the
black-eyed
perennials.
Susan,
Okay,
and then.
got it. I got all
Okay.
4 then.
Okay, so yeah, that was our only recommendation. We recommend getting everything completely native, especially so close to the resource area in the buffer zone that way for restoration purposes. So that was our 2 main comments on this, and that's what I have. So if you guys have any additional questions for me, I do have some more pictures just going around the property, but.
Trees are, I mean, the stumps are still in place, correct?
They are still in place, and we had asked, I don't think they were going to grind them up, but,
We were going to leave them and plant around them.
which would be beneficial, so.
So that, I'm looking at the total number of trees to be replanted is 15 plus 2 plus 2 plus 7, that's 26, 35. 35 trees. We've got 21, 28, 46, 49 shrubs. and then perennials.
Plus additional shrubs in the replication area.
Yeah. Can you just that's a different, we don't need to talk about the replication area right now, correct? That's next.
Well,
That's
my understanding was
RDA?
that the RDA was, I thought the RDA was for the trees after the fact, but I
Right.
may have that wrong. Now, our understanding of the RDA, we thought they were going to withdraw the RDA and just include everything in the amended, but
Correct. They didn't want us to close out that RDA until after we had submitted this amended order of conditions. That's what was recommended.
so we could do it, it could be all under the amended to keep everything in one spot and then have them, if they want to withdraw, I mean.
Yeah. So let's discuss the RDA as well and include it as part of the amended order of conditions, keep it all together. I mean, that's what we just had to do on the last one, and I think that's better. So can you review with me the figures again for the replication area? What was proposed for square footage area and what is going to be built?
Just a brief history, if you will. This initial project initially was done by Heritage Design Group. I just want to show you that. Exact same crossing, but their wetland impacts were 3,500 square feet. And one of the reasons for that is they had bigger pipes, and obviously the bigger the pipes, the higher the profile of the road, higher profile of the road, then you have more slope work. And they had all riprap slope here. So the impacts here was 3,500 square feet. So this was permitted back in 2006, 2007. So when my client back in 2020, I think, purchased this, he asked me to take a look at a redesign. And so after doing the drainage calcs, it was determined those pipes could be a lot smaller. They didn't have to be 36-inch pipes. So we lowered the profile of the road. By lowering the profile of the road, we vegetated the slopes 2-to-1. And you have pictures of those slopes. And to me, it's a much nicer effect than riprap, you know. So we were able to reduce the wetland impacts to about 2,000 square feet, from 3,500 to 2,000. Well, back then, in the permitting days, they liked us to do 1.5 to 1 for replication. So I think we I don't know, I can't remember.
It was 2,700.
Yeah, 2,700
Yeah.
we were supposed to do. And it was replication on both sides of the road, all right? That was the plan that got permitted.
So it's 35 to 27.
What's that?
35 to 27.
No, the 2,000 was what got approved for
Okay.
proposed alteration under, she was just saying in the very, very beginning, it
Okay.
was, but it's, so 2,000 is the number
Okay.
that was altered, and then 2,700 was what was proposed to be replaced in the order of conditions,
Okay.
which was approved in the order of conditions.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then this was what was approved back in 2020. In order to get the 2,700 square feet, we were trying to replicate on both sides, just adjacent to the existing wetland. But, you know, it's easy to do on paper. You know, you get out there in construction and you take a look at all the trees that were going to come down, especially over here. So then we tried to modify it and try to include as much as I could on this side. And I can remember meeting with Steve Zisk out there, a little over a year ago. I think, yeah, maybe you got the
Yeah,
video of the dog.
yep.
So, so we were talking about that, and he agreed, even if we went one-to-one replication, it was better than taking down any more trees. So that was our goal. You know, we can make it as big as you want, but you know, just to try to eliminate taking down any more trees, you know. And then,
So
we
where
did-
are we at? How big is it now?
So now it's about, I think it's about almost about 2,000 square feet. We did scrape around, I went out there and I surveyed it to see exactly how much we had, and so we made it a little larger here where that orange is, and we scraped it out, and we wanted to see what would come back naturally. You know, the key to these replication areas, you got to get the grade right. You don't get the grade right, it doesn't matter. And so Sam was out there. There's a lot of natural herbaceous wetland vegetation coming in right now. So we know we're good with the grade. Now we just need to plant some of the shrubs. And so we have about, I'm going to say it's close to 2,000 square feet. So that would basically be about 1-to-1 replication based on what was impacted. And the reason I bring up these culverts and, you know, the 1-to-1 slopes, because you can eliminate a lot of wetland impacts just by, you know, sometimes things get way over designed, you know, and a lot of engineers, they just rip-rap the heck out of everything when, you know, you only have a slope that's 3 feet high, you can easily 1-to-1 and, you know, vegetate it. If you want to bring that picture up again, Sam, to me, I thought this crossing came out great. And I've been out there during the big high flows, and it's working perfectly. We've had several big storms since this has been installed.
Samantha, you showed a picture of the behind the house where the clearing that was done goes right to the wetland edge. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any possibility of doing any replication in that area there to get back to our 2,700 square feet, to 700 square feet there?
I think, if you're asking, I think that...
I'm kind of asking you, I'm kind of asking...
Well, I do know,
the,
we looked at that. I walked around this site several times, and there was just no place where I could get in there without, you know, disturbing a bunch of trees. Well, now the trees are gone.
Right, that's
So-
why I asked.
Yep, go ahead.
And I was
Yeah.
just going to say, you know, we're happy to extend in here, if that helps, or I know the original plan was to try to avoid over here, and if there are any pictures of this side of the driveway, you'll see it's, there's more trees than forest floor, but, you know, if we can make it work, more than happy to replicate over there. It just would be a number of fallen tree removal required. But like ultimately, yeah, so that side. From a philosophical standpoint, like we're happy to extend the replication. We're happy to get some shrubs in here, you know, wetland, you know, fauna in general. Totally happy. But as you can see there, you know, so that isn't one uprooted tree right there. That's two. In December, one took the other one out, and actually subsequently another one, a third one, has fallen. So it's just, if we want to get in there, we can. Just have to remove 10 tons of tree. But I'm happy to do it.
Thank you.
Yep.
The bottom line with this one is Douglas's bylaw has a 1.5-to-1 ratio for the wetland replication area. It wasn't meeting it in the first place.
Exactly.
So, again, that was before most of our time. It wasn't meeting it in the first place with what was originally proposed. Now it's less than that. We know this location here, this area, is clearly already growing back hydrophytic vegetation pretty well. As Margaret said, the grade it seems to be good in this area already. So it's up to the commission. If you would like them to at least meet what was originally approved in the order of conditions, you have the power to do that. I mean, they could extend it in this area. They will have to take down a couple trees, probably over in this spot here, back here, to extend it. But this area seems to be a good spot if you're going to require them to make it larger than what it currently is, which is the 2,270-something. Then this area is probably one of the better locations for it, since it's already doing pretty well.
Can you just show us the picture behind the house?
Yeah,
Where
yep.
the clearing extends to the,
Get to it. Looks like it was this one here.
Up there on the hill, it doesn't take much in a grade change to go from upland to wetland. So, you know, you could easily, now that those trees are gone, I'm sure we could easily come with something up there, you know.
me personally, I mean, I would rather do it the front where we're already doing some and it would be contiguous with what we're already doing. But, I mean, I just wanted to see how that looked or what that looked like back there, because because we're right at the wetland edge, that's a possibility too. Do you guys have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to, to pick up the extra square footage to put something there,
Would you prefer they go to the back of the house and do it along the back? Or
No,
would you do it in the
not
front
really.
where they're already
Yeah.
have it?
Yeah, of course.
I would say increase the front then.
Just
Because they're already
increase- just
working there, why go back and redisturb again,
I don't think it would be as successful to go to the back and do
I was just-
500 square feet or whatever.
I was just looking at the total, from the original, what the board intended to do in the, in the
so
first
you're
place.
looking at another
So,
500 feet technically.
yeah, if you want to do it all in the front, I'm fine with that, so.
Does that make it easy? Is
Is
better
that possible?
to do 500 more square feet, or is that?
Yeah, we can get it. I'm just going to go back out there and locate that area with the instrument and try to make it a little larger with minimizing any other tree removal.
Yeah, without cutting any more trees
Correct,
down.
correct.
Yeah.
Some of these wetland plants that don't need to fuse quite as wet, we can put those on the edges.
Any thoughts on the tree the vegetation species, the natives? Just make those changes to the,
Yeah, I'd make the changes to the
Yeah, just
Oh.
native.
pure native.
any comments from anybody in the audience regarding the proposed plan? Anybody on remote want to speak to the plan?
This is like a two-parter, right?
Yeah, well, we haven't opened the
Here.
number 4, the
Well, that was old
determination of
business.
determination of applicability. But we would have to, well, I guess, I never remember what
So,
we
I don't
have to
I think we
do.
do. I
You
think
don't
it's
have-
going to be all wrapped into one,
I would
right?
keep them separate. I mean,
Okay.
and then you guys can determine how you'd like to go about the RDA. I mean, because I would say they should just be combined because everything is covered in the amendment. So it depends on what the applicant wants to do. If they want to withdraw the RDA, they can just withdraw it and then everything's included in the amendment. You could vote on the RDA and give it a negative determination if you'd like. But I would definitely just keep them separate because they are separate on the agenda. So you could vote on the amended
So,
order first.
On the number 3, do the negative RDA.
The three would be the amended order of conditions, so you're just, if you guys want to add your special conditions that you've just discussed now, we can add that, and then you will just vote on that.
Okay,
So you'll vote on approving the amended order of conditions with the special conditions.
okay. I can do that.
Yeah,
You're going to withdraw the RDA? That's the best course of action?
I would say so, if that's okay by the applicant. to withdraw it, because as far as I'm concerned, everything's included
We're gonna-
with this amended.
We're putting everything in the amendment, so there's really no reason for the RDA. So before we close, just, I mean, in terms of conditions, I hear two conditions. One was to revise the plant list,
Yep.
to change the 4 species that are not completely native,
Cultivar, yeah, so go from cultivar to completely native.
which was the Betula nigra, river birch, the red sprite winterberry, the gray,
Lilac.
lilac cranesbill,
And the
and the
American
gold rush
gold
rudbeckia.
Okay. So that-
And then the other condition would be to increase the replication area at the front of the house by 500 square feet.
So do you just want to bring it back to what was originally approved? Or just?
At least close to it.
Okay.
I mean,
So just add
Or
it.
close as possible.
yeah, as close as possible without, I'd say a minimum of 500 square feet, put it that way.
A minimum?
Yeah.
Well, so 500 gives them back to the 27, what they were.
No, it goes, that gets to 2,500, and they were at 27.
So I was confused because you said it was 2250.
So the proposed, right now, it's 2,200 and, I can't read this,
Oh,
2,275, right around
Okay.
there.
okay, so I'm sorry, yeah. So 500 will, I want to get to 2,500 square feet personally.
Okay. So that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
I got you.
At a minimum.
Yep.
And if they can get to the 2,700, that'd be
Great.
perfect,
Yep.
if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
Total of 2,500
So-
square feet.
So is there a motion to close this public hearing?
Make a motion to close public hearing for DP 143-1014 34 Grove Street.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to close the public hearing. Do we have a motion for,
Oh, the roll call.
oh yeah, we should do a roll call vote on closing it, shouldn't
Jim
we?
Thorne, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Bircheye.
Mark Mangiamai.
I think Jen does.
All right, I
Jen might.
will make, see, for the OOC amendment, DP 143-1014, the order of conditions for 34 Grove Street Restoration Plan, map 143, lot 2, to revise the plant list, making from cultivar to completely native.
That would be a condition, yep.
First condition, and then increase the replication front of the house up to 500, up to, bring you back up to the original 2,500 square feet. So you're at 2,275, give or take a little. So at least bring it up to the 2,500 or more.
I think that's it.
And to approve.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the amendment to the order conditions with 2 conditions. One, to change the varieties of those 4 plantings to a true native planting. And the second condition is to increase the size of the replication area to a minimum of 2,500 square feet with the hope of being 2,700 square feet in area, which was what was originally permitted. So, roll call vote.
Jim Thorne, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Bircheye.
Mark Mangiamai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
And then we just have to, we don't have to worry about number 4 because they're just going to withdraw it. Right?
I don't know how that works, but yes. that is what's gonna, I think we have to open and then they have to approve us to withdraw it, and then we'll
Yeah.
withdraw it.
Could vote to approve their withdrawal,
Yep.
just to be safe about it.
Approve the withdrawal.
Yeah, if they're
Yes.
going to withdraw the
Okay.
RDA, then you would vote to approve their withdrawal.
Okay, we're going to go to item 4 then. Under old business, open the meeting for determination of applicability, 34 Grove Street, map 161, lot 45. You want to waive the reading of the public meeting notice?
Make a motion to waive the public meeting reading.
Is there a
Second.
second? Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Jim Forney.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Meeting is now open. Do you have a request to, what, to
Yes.
Remove.
Request to withdraw.
withdraw?
Just
Thank
change the
you.
name in, yeah.
Oh, Edward McLean, 34 Grove Street.
You're getting like us.
Like to request to withdraw the RDA, please.
All right, thank you very much. Request has been made to withdraw the RDA. All those in favor?
Jim Forney.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's okay. Let's hope so.
Yeah. That'll
Above
work.
and beyond.
All right, next up. Lakeshore Drive enforcement order. Is that on the ticket tonight? Is anyone here for Lakeshore Drive?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. We
I don't
haven't
think
had.
so. Did we ever hear from
Oh,
the
yes.
DEP?
Hi, Bob Moran, 56 Lakeshore Drive. I have nothing new to add. I just wanted to make sure I was present if the issue was discussed, so nothing new to add.
Okay, thank you for showing up. I have nothing new to add to this right now. We're
Yeah.
still waiting on DEP's review of the site and their thoughts on where we go from here, so hopefully we'll get something back from them. Sorry, Bob, I have nothing new.
Nope, fair enough.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go to Certificate of Compliance and Extensions, number 6, request for Certificate of Compliance, DEP number 143-1044, Joseph Taylor, adjacent to Wallace Street parking area, map 184, lot 2. Someone here representing that project, please. Please come forward, Becky. Have to state your name and address.
Becky Gallagher, 24 Glen Street.
All right. All right, what's up with this one?
Trail project that we had put a bridge in on the Red Pine.
Red Pine Trail, yep.
Correct.
Yep, okay. All done?
Finally done, and now we're finally getting around for the certificate of compliance.
All right, thank you. You probably don't have pictures of this, do you?
I do, yep. I just want to show the plan. This is the original approved site plan for this. So they were relocating the trail slightly farther away from the wetland. They were going over an intermittent stream, so their impacts were about 12 linear feet of bank of stream for this project. There was no impacts on BVW for this one. So I did do a site visit. I'll get some pictures up. So here's the site. This is looking in the general direction of where the path was. And then now we're on the new footbridge here. So everything looks stable. They still had some erosion controls in, so I asked them to take the erosion controls out because it is a stable site.
And that was done this week.
Okay, perfect. And so the only comments that we have on this one are we need a letter from the engineer stating that everything has been built in substantial compliance with the order of conditions, which I have not received. I don't know if they have received a letter. we could, if they wanted to give an as-built plan, they could. It's not necessarily, they don't need it, but we do need the letter from the engineer to approve the certificate of compliance. The only deviation that I saw in the field was they had, originally, there's this line of boulders here, which was where the original path was. And on the site plan, they had proposed a couple winterberry and high bush, I think it was high bush blueberry and winterberry, which I didn't see there. So those were not planted, as far as I'm aware. There is wetland vegetation growing in this area, so it seems to be bouncing back okay, but that's my only comment is I did not see what was originally proposed for the plantings. The boulders were proposed on the site plan, which are there, but the plantings are not there. And then we need the engineered plan to tell us if it was built in substantial compliance. So that's all I have on this one.
Was there an engineer on this design?
Margaret wasn't sure what she needed to provide.
Wasn't quite sure, do you need an as-built plan?
No, we don't require an as-built plan for this project. So just a note, I think, would be great for our files, just to say that it was built substantially in compliance with the proposed plan, and that, I think that would be it, Margaret.
Okay.
You agree?
You just wouldn't be able to approve it until we get that, so it would just need to be continued
Yep.
until we receive that plan.
Was that all right? You're fine with that, Becky? Okay. What about the plants? Any thoughts about whether we should require that?
Just muted it.
That require be more of a disturbance now with everything that's growing back in there?
It's up to the commission. I mean, I wouldn't say it is or it isn't. It was just what was.
How many were supposed to
You
be
you
placed?
said
was-
it was 12 feet?
It wasn't that many plants. Let me get the plan back up. I don't even know if it specified the amount. It just said to be planted.
Was there a reason for not?
I kind of did that just to soften up the effect a little. I don't think it really is necessary.
I don't think it will need it in time. I'm not gonna,
All right.
I wouldn't worry about it.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
All right. But we won't worry about the plants. There's lots of plants there.
And it is growing back
Yeah.
substantially, so I don't think it.
Yeah, it came out pretty nice. It got all the hikers and the bikers out of the muddy trail section there and over onto a much drier area. So they did a nice job.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. Very nice.
All
All
right.
right, so we just need a letter for the next time, and then we'll
Yep.
can approve it, right?
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
With that, we're moving right along. Did you want to go back to number one? I think.
Oh, it'd be a good time for that, yes. All right, we opened as new business item number 1, request for determination of applicability for Sandra Bradley, 63 Depot Street. The applicant wasn't available. Is Susan Bradley available now? All right. What's the desire of the commission? Should we continue this so that we...
Continue it.
Okay.
And then someone at the office can get in contact with them.
To next.
You'd rather continue it? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. So, you want me to
Make a motion to continue?
continue 63 Depot Street for the pool, for map 169, lot 52. To continue to, when is our next meeting? Sorry.
The 28th.
April 28th.
April 28th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to continue the public meeting. Those in favor?
Jim Farr and I.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. right. 7 was already done. Next up, other. Possible violation, 190 Perry Street, map 269, lot 1. What do you have on that, Samantha?
If I know Mr. Betancourt is here, if he'd like to speak on it, and then I can give my input, like.
How you doing? John, if you want to grab a chair.
Yeah, go over the book. This one too. Come here.
Chris Betancourt, 41 Mystic Valley Lane, Uxbridge, Mass. And John Grenier, who's representing us from as PE, and Matt Watsky's here as well.
Okay. So this was, I think, discussed at our last meeting where we,
Yeah,
it's
so,
off of the extension, Perry Street Extension.
yeah, I'll get the pictures back up just to refresh everybody's memory. So there has been sedimentation, sediment has come down Perry Street, the dirt road, down the street, and into a wetland on 190 Perry Street. So it's coming from up the road, flowing down the street, and there's been sedimentation going into the wetland. So this is generally what it looks like. It's coming from up here and rilling down, and as you can see, going straight into the wetland there. So they can discuss what their conceptual plans are, but Brandon had talked to them about creating a stormwater basin to catch some of this runoff before it gets down the street to prevent this from continuing to happen, because it could be cleaned up tomorrow, but if this is just going to keep happening, something needs to be done up the street. So we were given a conceptual plan, and it's very conceptual, of where the basin would be located in order to catch the runoff. Now, originally, it was proposed out of the buffer zone, so out completely, but now it's proposed closer to the buffer zone. So let me get, if I can find the conceptual plan, just to give the commission a general idea of where this basin would be to catch the runoff. Okay, so this general area up the street is where the sedimentation is generally coming from, flowing down the street, and then kind of coming off in this direction to where the wetland is down here. So they've proposed an approximate basin area, and it would be within the 100-foot buffer. As far as I'm understanding it, the reason being is in order to catch more of the runoff before it continues down the road farther. So they could go into the exact plans on it. We originally recommended they file a notice of intent for this stormwater basin. What I understand is they are trying to get it under an emergency certificate. But that is my understanding of the situation at the moment. So if they'd like to go more into
If I could,
detail.
Just interrupt you just for a second. I went down to 190 Perry Street on Thursday when it was raining. It was raining pretty hard, and I did see where the sediment did go in, but there was no additional sediment going in at all. It seemed like it was just continuing down the road. So I don't know if you have to do a basin. I mean,
Well, I could elaborate when you're finished.
oh, okay, yeah, because I was just thinking maybe like a barrier or something too, because it seems how the road is just naturally, it's kind of steep and it comes down and it makes that corner there.
Right.
But there was no, I saw where the additional, where the sediment went in different spots, but there was no additional sediment on Thursday.
Right.
It was raining pretty good. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
And I went down and looked at your operation down there.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, this is, you know, a lot of work,
yeah.
you know, but, so I'm not sure if you really need that. I mean,
So the reason why we were even going in that direction was I was approached by the planning board and Matt Benoit initially, and Mr. Wojcik as well. But, you know, just to stay on subject here, in the request letter for me to be here, it was at least being discussed that the sedimentation was coming from my site. So what I did was I went out on site and we shock grades, and we have topo that went from the center of Perry Street onto Lot 18, the center of Perry Street down to Lot 17, the center of Perry Street onto Lot 16 where the infiltration basin is. And the water flows off Perry Street onto these house lots, not from the house lots uphill onto Perry Street. Additionally, I have a letter from the DPW stating that they were there on March 10th, spreading gravel, backblading, and grading. And they were there with a backhoe as well, using the backhoe bucket to create swales to go off of Perry Street into the woods on both sides. I only own on one side. They've been doing that for years. In the letter, it states they've been doing it for 20-plus years. I've been involved since December 2021. I have not touched any grades on Perry Street. I've been asked not to by the planning board. And I do have permits for Lot 18 and 17 for wells which are installed, for septic systems which are designed but not yet installed. We cleared trees, and actually, you know, Matt Benoit thought I was working on Perry Street one day, and he called the building inspector and sent out an email, and then found out I had permission to be doing what I was doing, and it went away. I've not touched Perry Street because there's certain things that people have been asking for that have been unclear. I've dropped off an engineered drawing on May 17th of last year showing that we were going to create a drainage system and put an infiltration basin good for a 25-year storm. And it was not approved. The town wasn't sure, and this is my best way of communicating this. The town wasn't sure who owned the road, how it was going to be turned into a public way, who owned the drainage. They were asking for pavement. I agreed to step up and do this work at no cost to the town, and I'm still willing to do that work at no cost to the town. And there's a larger plan, overlay plan for the entire 500 acres coming in the next few weeks that will describe what our intentions are. Our intentions have been described to the decision makers in the town on many occasions behind closed doors so that they could help me mold the future of this area for the town's benefit as well as ours. That work is still in process. In the interim, I had 14 lots that were approved, and we started building on them last April. We have 4 complete, 4 sold, and we have 4 pre-sold coming up. So my main focus has been on building these lots and generating the type of landscape that we wanted to show to public and to attract certain people in to live in these homes and, you know, create a nice atmosphere. The rest of the development will take the same shape, go along the same roads, and, you know, it was discussed about adding an equestrian area within the 500 acres on the south side, and all that is in the works. So until we move forward with a full overlay plan, right now, we're dealing with an age-old issue where Perry Street, during a major rain event, drains down to the bottom of the hill and goes into the same wetland area. And I brought pictures of that during last year's 100-year storm, if that's what you want to call it, the major rain event that we had. I brought pictures of the road. Orange Street was underwater. It was flowing over the road, 6 inches of water. And I brought the results of it to Matt Benoit's office and sat with him, and I showed him what's going on, and I asked him if we were ready to move forward with it. And it's been tabled, but right now we have a planning board meeting on Wednesday to discuss this very thing, and we, like I said, we are in the process of creating an overlay for the entire area so that, you know, we can come forward. We're going to probably go through MIPA and you know, design our roads, and there's a long way to go. So this is just the beginning phases of it. We've got 16,000 lineal feet of frontage on 3 roads, and we're building a few A&R lots right now.
Yeah.
If I can jump in and kind of circle back to where we are with Perry Street is...
Could you just state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Again?
John Grenny with J.M. Grenny Associates.
Thank you.
Our offices are in Southborough. I've been recently brought on board with Mr. Betancourt to, you know, take over on some of these lots, some of the A&R lots he's been building, and then with this last area on Perry Street, we were out on site to look at what some of the soils are out in that area, outside the 100-foot buffer, and actually, I saw you on site, and it was good sandy soils, and then subsequent to that, there was the sedimentation that was noticed on Perry Street, and I guess from Chris's discussions with the DPW, it looks like when they went out there and, you know, after the spring thawed out, they took in some material. It looks like the material that did wash into the wetland it's sandy, gravelly material, something that would be consistent with when they went and tuned the dirt road up. It wasn't anything silty or any type of top or subsoil. It looked all consistent with what was laid on the road. So what Chris and I have talked over, and this is within the past day or so, is, and some discussions with Mr. Fanoff, is if he can try to prevent future washouts in larger storm events on Perry Street, to grab as much runoff. You have about 1,000 feet of road that pitches down gradient from north to the south, and bigger storm events, you know, eventually more rainwater comes down the shoulder of the road and it builds up speed and it starts to rut it out. If we could try to grab as much of that water as possible, and actually Mr. Betancourt is voluntarily saying they can use some of his land, grab some of that water, direct it through some catch basins potentially, and put that into a basin where there's good sandy soils, hold back through a 25-year storm event that would contain that runoff that is eventually, in larger storm events, washing down Perry Street and into the resource area. And also we have noted on here, further south in areas where you can't get that runoff and put it into catch basins, on the shoulder of the road, maybe do some, right there exactly, do a stone-lined swale with maybe a little plunge pool so that anything that doesn't get captured can get at least filtered out and maybe so things don't wash into the wetlands. So Mr. Betancourt is proactively volunteering this so that, we're in the spring season, we're going to be getting more rain events. Who knows if we're going to get some heavier rain events that it would just continue to wash out. So this is something that we've discussed internally. What we have also discussed is if this could be this work permitted under an emergency order, because if we go through and work with your consultant to make sure that this work is done properly, make sure that it achieves the goal of capturing that runoff and the sediment that potentially could go into the wetlands. If we go through a full notice of intent, it'll be 2-3 months, and by that time we'll be through the spring season, and so we're willing to proactively work to make sure that if there's any future large storm events that this can be handled, and that the ultimate goal is to protect the resource area. And Matt Watsky is on with us, and if there's any questions on the process of having this work done under an emergency order, Matt can speak to that as well.
Also, I've been in direct contact with Brandon since I was alerted on Friday that there was a complaint. I called him, we spoke Saturday, we spoke today. We've been emailing and texting regarding this. There were discussions about the location of the infiltration basin. Initially, Matt Benoit was asking for it to be out of the buffer zone. Brandon said that it would be, it would work much better if it was closer to the bottom of the hill. Excuse me. So we did some test pits. We walked the land before the trees were cut. We had the tree line flagged, and he came out and he did the test pits with us to show the high water table, which I don't think you found any, right?
No, it was all
down 7 feet. You didn't find
surprisingly, we looked at the soil maps, and we were anticipating that we would find some seasonal high groundwater, but it was all good granular material, no signs of groundwater. And it's been wet the past few weeks with the thaw and some of the rains we've had, so we didn't have any signs of any seasonal high groundwater or groundwater in that area, so, which is a good thing.
So all of our hydrology reports in the 21-year storm were based on impervious surface, because we're planning that someday Perry Street will be paved. And so we're planning ahead for that.
Chris, you just mentioned something about clearing lines.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Tree clearing. So we put in permits for clearing trees. We had...
And where is that? Is that on this plan somewhere?
Right above where that infiltration basin is. That's a second look at it, but we're calling it Lot 16, so I would say 50 feet north of that, you can see that there's a 100-foot buffer zone. Outside of the buffer zone, we cleared that entire area there for a buildable house lot and an infiltration basin.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just want to add that when I was there, I looked at what they cut down, and there was no water coming off of their lots. It was basically, like you said, it's a clear cut.
Yeah, we just started stumping, so we have our erosion control dropped off on site, and as soon as we can get it in.
I saw that,
But none of this clearing is where you're proposing that detention basin. It's out.
Well, it is, but this is...
It looks like it might be.
This is a second location. This is a second stab at it. The first one has been in with the town since May 17th of 2024, which is outside.
Yeah, that's why I don't think we should do any emergency anything on this.
No, we don't have a good history of that.
No, and I was only there for like half an hour or so, but there was no runoff, and like you said, the material that was in the wetland, it's from the road. It's so I guess in my opinion is, the town or you, Mr. Betancourt, have to beef up that area where the corner is a little bit, and I think we're all set. But for the long-term plan, the basin would probably be a good idea, but I don't know about just like, digging a hole and what, I mean,
Do we have any photos of that clearing that's been done?
Excuse me?
I don't think I have any. I'll double check, but I just had the sedimentation.
Okay. Has there been any controls, erosion control barriers installed to?
on the road, there's none.
There's nothing along where
nothing
the
along the
water is
road.
coming off and going? I mean, at a
So-
very minimum, that's what I would like to
Yeah.
see, is some erosion control.
I mean, I think that would
And I
handle-
think that's what we need
Yeah, at this,
before a big detention basin gets built.
exactly, yeah.
All right, and
That's what I thought.
And what Chris has done to date is he cleared the trees, and he's getting to a point where it makes sense to install the erosion control before any, site work continues with, that would be grubbing and doing any heavy site work. So no heavy site work has been done to date. The limit of clearing is at or beyond the 100-foot buffer, and to,
Yeah, you could tell that there were two house lots. That were,
yeah, yeah.
Or a big house lot, I mean.
Correct.
It's, yeah, so.
Well, I just want to be clear, I mean, if your clearing has to be outside of the
It is.
100-foot buffer
is.
until you come before us
Right.
and seek a permit
Okay.
to work within the 100-foot buffer.
Yeah.
But your work may still impact that buffer zone. So if you are working at 101 feet, you should be putting silt fence up
Understood.
along that 100-foot
Yeah, and
line.
there's, Mark, and there's none. There's,
Still,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we-
still, it defines the 100-foot buffer, so they should.
yeah,
they should
that-
add
I
something.
couldn't.
The wattle is on site. We dropped off 2 pallets of wattle. So the tree clearers laid all their trees down, and they're in the process of taking them out. I think they have one more lot to do.
Okay.
And we're stumping. We started stumping Friday afternoon, Monday morning, today.
Right, and that's when you start to get the soil movement, potentially.
Right.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
desire that it
No, no.
is, but it has
Yeah.
more potential to move
Right.
when you do the stumping, so.
Right.
But again, can you bring the pictures back up of the
Yep.
water running off the road and how it runs off? Which is, again, I know it's not not caused by you,
Right.
and it's probably been occurring for years, and I'm sure it was exacerbated by them adding gravel and grading on March 10th, as I
And that's what-
saw in the
Yeah,
Adam Fernal
that-
letter.
It's a week.
They did.
That's exactly what happened. It's that
Right.
it's other material.
It's loose material, it's new loose material, so it's got more, it's
Yeah.
going to move. But I would certainly like to see some erosion barriers placed. Do you have another picture that shows it really going into the wetland?
Yeah.
Between the road, like right where the 317/2025 is, right at that, where it starts to turn away from the road and go
Yeah.
towards the wetland, that's
could
where we
see-
need some
You
barrier.
could see it all in the.
And is that your land,
No.
Mr. Betancourt?
It actually is. It
Oh.
actually is.
On
Yeah.
where that utility pole is?
Yes, yes. I was looking at Landglide today, and it changed over from the first lot with the first house.
It's a big project.
So, I mean, I don't
I
know,
couldn't believe how huge that was.
I think that's right at the prop. If you pull up the other plans, see that's the utility pole on the up gradient side. That's where there's a break in the shoulder of the road.
Uh-huh.
If you pull up that site plan,
so I
I
mean,
think that's right at the property line. If
I
you
just think
zoom
as a
in there-
good neighbor, if you could put some of your straw wattles
All I'm
there,
waiting for was direction.
that's
You know,
what I
maybe
would.
you guys
I
could
would
write
like
me a
to see
letter
do.
and ask me to do it and tell me, we'll keep in contact. I'll work directly with Brandon on this. So that way I did what I was asked to do. Everybody inspected it, because if we get another 100-year rain event and we lose more gravel off the road, everybody's going to really point their fingers at me, because I was the last one to touch it, right? And I just don't want to get in trouble, but I'll do whatever you want. I'm equipped for it.
So if I may, through the chair,
Absolutely.
Right, I mean, right now, we've got the sedimentation, that there's actual physical sediment on Mr. Betancourt's property going into the wetland there. And then, obviously, there's the issue of the basin and the water coming down the road. But I think that the commission needs some type of conceptual plan as to restoring or removing sediment from that area, if you so wish.
Wait, so you're talking about two areas, though, right?
Well, no.
Okay,
This,
I'm
so,
confused then.
so from this plan,
Yeah.
we're
You
looking.
talk, Sam, you're talking about the corner, right?
Yes, so this,
Yeah.
so the sediment came down and then cut
Yes.
into the site this way.
Yeah.
So it's on Mr. Betancourt's property that this sedimentation occurred. So the sediment has gone and down, and then there's a flagged wetland down in this area here. So we have physical sediment still sitting there in the wetland right now. So that's just, I want to bring that up to the commission. Does the commission want to request some type of restoration plan for that specific area? Should that be included in a conceptual plan for this basin happening? Should that be separate? It's up to the commission, but that's just something to mention as well. So we still have that physical sediment in the wetland currently, even if it's not continuing,
No,
but
you could, when I went out there, that's what I could see, and that it was, there was quite a bit of sediment in the wetland, but there was no more runoff, and it was raining pretty hard. It had been raining all morning, and
I walked there on
stopped.
Saturday, I walked up and down the road in the rain.
Yeah.
And I took videos of it.
Yeah, and you could see where it kind of, where it eroded there, where I think it's pretty simple. It's just,
Cuts across
that's what I
the
was
road
going
at the
to
end.
bring to the meeting tonight, was that, that you may have to put some erosion control in that corner.
Yep.
And
And I'm not sure what effect that would have during a major rain event.
Yeah, I don't either, but
But we're willing to do, whatever it is that you guys ask us to do. And as far as any reclamation, it may make sense to do something after we've got this thing under control permanently, that we can go and do something. I don't know, if it makes sense to try to get in there and start removing material just to have it fill up again, possibly someday. So, I'm open ears.
Can you folks hear me? I'm not sure the way the Zoom is working, if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yep.
This is Matt. So, I'd like to encourage the commission to look at this, let's call it from the big picture. As a member was just saying, the source of the sediment is the road itself. Chris has been asking for the town's approval to improve this section of Perry Street, to pave it, and to put in a stormwater swale along the side of it, and direct the stormwater into a properly designed stormwater management basin. And he's not getting the cooperation from other parts of the town to say, yes, you have all the rights. We've already given them the legal analysis that he has all the rights he needs to be able to make improvements. We just need to have a green light to say, yes, we want you to do this. Just looking at putting up a sediment barrier along the edge of the road isn't going to solve the problem. That just means the sediment's going to accumulate along that. I'd encourage the commission to consider what can you do, because you're concerned about protecting wetlands, to press the planning board and the town manager and the town planner to figure out how to get approval for Chris to be able to make improvements to the section of the road so that it's not an ongoing problem.
Thank you. I don't disagree with you whatsoever, that this is not strictly a conservation commission or planning board or a town manager issue. It's all of our issue. And we see that on another project that we have right now, how, it has become a bigger issue because we didn't get together on it in the first place. So, but in the meantime, we have the potential for sediment still running off and still damaging the jurisdictional area. So as a means to at least stop that from continuing to occur, then I would recommend that we do add some erosion control, an erosion control barrier,
Right.
which is where you said at the corner or whatever, where
yeah,
it
it's a
comes off the
Band-Aid
road.
now,
And that we need to come up with a plan, not an emergency plan, but a
Right.
plan for the road's future as to, is it going to be country drainage like every other road in town, or is there going to be, basins and detention basin?
Right.
But we need a plan, not proceed without one, in my opinion. So,
It was discussed as country drainage in most areas along Perry Street because it's flat. But on the hill, they wanted something more. And they asked for the infiltration basin, and I freely gave it. So I had my engineers design it at my expense. I just bought a $60,000 hammer and a machine to break up all the granite on that side so that we can put a pipe in the ground and some structures. And that's what my intent would be. Because at the end of the day, I don't, I want the road to be wide enough to be safe and to be used. And I want the water to be underground. And I'd rather pick up the water along the way. So John was working on a plan. I think he had 3 structures coming down Perry Street on the right-hand side if you're looking down the hill, and one on the left, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right, and that may be the exact right thing to do, but I don't know that, and I don't want to tell you you can or should do that,
Right.
and have you spend that much money to do something that doesn't, for some reason doesn't work, or is not really what the town can maintain afterwards or utilize afterwards.
That
So,
was part of the discussion.
so
I said, if you give me some guidelines on how you would like for me to repair and build this road, please give me the specifications so that you'd be happy to take it over and do the maintenance. And I said that, during construction, I'd be happy to bring in some regrind and compact it so that it's not eroding, and then pave it later. What we really need to do here is stop the sedimentation from going down the hill, and the plan of action is already in process. The engineers have engineered it, and we just really need for the town to agree that that's what we can do, and I'll be on it. I'll be working on it.
And additionally, we did reach out to the planning board. We're on their agenda for Wednesday night, so we're trying to push.
Okay.
We're trying to push this to we don't want to see erosion continuing. We're trying to be proactive. We reached out to the planning board. We're on their agenda for Wednesday night. And with this, again, this was just within the past, 24 hours or so. We said, well, okay, what can we do proactively to try to make sure that there are no future problems with runoff and sedimentation? So we said, all right, if there's something we can do now under an emergency order, then we want to be on it. So we're trying to be proactive. We're trying to make sure that we're working as diligently and proactively as possible.
I mean, in my opinion, what I think we should do, or you should do, what I would like to see you do is to, add that erosion control barrier where it starts to break away from the road, and then maybe up a little bit from that, if there's the potential to add like a rock check dam or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Would help water to have to kind of go through the rock before it
Slow
gets
it
down.
down.
Slows it down before it hits the silt fence, because you don't want it to just barrel into the silt fence.
Exactly. So maybe, and it looks like in other areas up gradient on Perry Street, there were some areas where I believe it was the DPW, because Chris hasn't touched Perry Street. There's areas where on the shoulder of the road, there looks like there's little breaks where there's a little hump on the shoulder of the road. They opened it up, and there's areas up gradient where there's water from the shoulder of the road that's sandy that goes off into the woods, up gradient. And then in that area by that utility pole that we were looking at, it looks like someone scraped that out to let the water go. So if we can go and throw some stone in there to try to slow it down, or...
The DPW does that every year, sometimes more than once a year. I haven't gotten a hold of their schedule, nor have I asked for it. But they take the backhoe and they take the bucket and they push into the woods, and they create a swale. So during a rain event, the water will go right into the woods and then it dissipates. They did it on the left-hand side, which I do not own, and twice along the right-hand side, which I do own. And I don't have any problem with it because it goes in about 15, 20 feet, and then it's gone. The earth drinks it up. So,
But, yeah, if there's...
Right, but if you sell that lot, the homeowner may have a problem with that,
there'll
right?
be a drainage
And so-
system in there beforehand,
Right.
and that's
what we're
trying
working
to do.
towards.
And,
But to your point, if there's other things we can do to throw some stone down, some riprap to kind of slow it down and let it dissipate,
I don't know
we'll
about
do that as well.
riprap, but I mean, just a regular erosion control,
Wattle.
Yeah.
And siltation fence, maybe?
yeah. I mean, it's a Band-Aid,
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's a planning board issue for the roadway. I mean, I don't know, you're going to put a sidewalk down there?
Well,
I mean,
that's
5-foot
part of the
sidewalk
overlay
with
plan.
granite
you know.
curbing?
Well,
I mean-
there's a certain area where you cross over into, you know, it can't happen. You know what I mean? Because,
I'm just joking.
yeah,
about the
okay,
granite
good.
curbing.
Thank you.
You were making,
I mean,
you're
thank
making me
you.
anxious.
Yeah, you know, it's, this town, you don't know, I mean, as far as sidewalks go, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So
But the granite curbing is expensive, I understand it.
I've also reached out to National Grid. I have a meeting with them coming up, and I want to talk to them about realigning the utility poles because some of them are bent over and they crisscross all the way down the street. And I'd like to see them go all the way down one side and then cross the street where there's a house lot to go underground utilities from there. So that discussion's coming up as well.
Yeah. I don't know, it's really in the beginning stages of this development.
It is.
And-
We've built
and so
4
the-
homes so far.
Any comments from anybody in the audience on this? It's just a meeting, so I want to give somebody a chance. But no one wants to talk about it. Oh, someone does. See?
If I may ask you, Chair, and this is Matthew Watsky as counsel, I'd like to suggest that the commission have a communication to the town manager to suggest that a meeting gets set up with the town manager and a representative of the commission and the department heads to meet with Chris and his engineer, and perhaps me, to start moving the ball forward again and talk about how to deal with this section of Perry Street and then the bigger picture, the rest of Perry Street and the overall development. But the erosion that's coming from this section of the road, I think the focus of you know, the first amount of attention that people can put on this to say, how are we going to deal with this so that we stop the discharge of sediment from the sand and gravel that the town is putting on the road? So how do we stop that discharge of sediment into the wells?
Correct.
Let's put our heads together and figure it out.
I agree.
There could be a maintenance program as well. You know, so the siltation fence and the wattle is only going to go so far during certain rain events. You know, if I had a letter that says I could go in there and clean it up and replace the wattle without somebody calling it in saying I'm working in the wetlands, if we had an agreement, then I could do the regular maintenance on it as well.
And the only, sorry, just to confirm, because I forget what you said at the very beginning, but the only reason that it wasn't approved by the town, the plan you proposed by the town about a year ago, maybe more, is that the ownership wasn't clear?
Right.
That was it, that's it.
Right.
Right. So we provided our analysis of the ownership. I think it's very clear.
Right.
Oh, got it.
So, you know, we're just waiting for the ruling, and I think the last discussion that we had was that Matt Benoit said, let the lawyers handle how to turn Perry Street into a public way. And I'm like, okay, let them work on it. When they come up with a solution, all I need are marching orders.
Yep.
And I'll be sitting there with a shovel in my hand.
Sorry.
Yes, your name and...
Pamela Schwartz, 343 Southeast Main Street. Just to back up, just to reinforce some of what I'm hearing, the history of this road going back 40-some-odd years, before any houses were even on it. The drainage has always been a serious issue coming down both sides to that wetland area where the drain pipe goes under the road. And it is constantly washing out, and as been mentioned here on numerous discussions, it is all from road maintenance with the berms being pushed to the side by grading and washing down. It's all that loose gravel you referred to, washing into the wetland on both sides of the drain pipe. And the issue is on both sides of the drain pipe for the runoff. And the town has tried using straw bales down there to help retain it and direct the water flow. But the gullying action is 40-some-odd years old. And that's before any houses or anything else were there. So it's an ongoing problem. And the wetland that is being drained into now by that utility pole, that has changed the wetland drainage direction over 40 years. It's constantly moving around and changing because all the sediment washing in there is redirecting the water flow, because there used to be a common channel right down the middle of that wetland, but with all the sediment, it's now diverting off in all different directions. It's not a direct channel anymore. So it's really an old problem, and I would just suggest that, in fact, it's a multiple board issue, and it should be taken up by the multiple boards of the town. It's not just one individual's dilemma to be worked on. It's got to be a serious town effort, because it's been neglected for 40 years.
One other side note, that was a cart path back to 1840.
Yes, it was never, and it was Perry Street extension way back there, was a cart path, grew over, became a bridle path, and then in the 1980s, my ex-husband and I opened this road up with town permission, all the planning board, all the sign-offs, as a public way. We took it over. That was under Buffarian, way back when.
Buffarian.
So a little history.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'd like to do that. I'd like to schedule a meeting and get together with the different groups that are impacted by this development, by the street, by the drainage, and try to come to a conclusion as to how we can best, fix things and make it sustainable, not just, I know what I suggested tonight, in terms of putting up silt fence and protecting the wetlands a little bit from the runoff is not sustainable, but it's something, and we need to, but we need to get to a permanent at some point here. So that's what I'm gonna, Matt, is it Matt? I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. Yeah.
I mean, Watsky.
Yeah, I agree with his suggestion, let's get together. But in the meantime, are you willing to do some erosion control, or do you need a letter from us before that gets done?
I don't want to get called back in here for doing what you asked me to do. That's my only issue. So if we can get a letter asking me to do it, and I'll perform the maintenance of it as well.
We are being recorded, so.
Yeah, okay, so this is it.
Yeah.
You asked me to do it, I'll do it.
Okay.
If you want to be specific, I'll look for an email tomorrow from Brandon or from whomever.
We're not going to be any more specific than that, than this meeting and this discussion.
Because it's just a Band-Aid for now. And the planning board has to address the roadway.
And we'll work on schedule. We'll meet anyways
And
to.
and Samantha, I know that you mentioned about restoration, and it is something that will come up,
Which
but
I understand that.
I don't
as
think
well,
we
yeah.
can come up to
Yes.
it now.
At this point,
Yeah.
Yes.
And how many years?
And it's been ongoing, so how
And is
far
it
back
gonna
do we go?
continue to
If
happen?
it's going to
Like 40
continue.
years
she
ago.
said 40 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Anyone else out there?
Anyone else have any comment? Nope. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a nice night. You too. Yeah.
Thank you, folks.
What are you guys here for?
That's my wife.
Okay.
She left the pom-poms at home.
Yeah, I know. Are you here for something on the agenda, or just to?
No, I've got a lot of things I've probably done. 206 West Street.
Did we?
Oh, that's, so we're almost there.
Oh, we're almost there. Oh, okay.
Almost there.
It is, yes.
Expect education later on.
Oh, I see. Never mind. Hold on. Yes.
Great. Come on up. It's your turn, finally.
Sick.
Nice to see you, Leonard.
Yes, you see you all again.
I'm Victoria Ruaco, 206 West Street.
Keegan Van Sicklen, 206 West Street.
All right, thank you. So I hear that we approved your project, and it has been, it's been appealed by DEP?
And then am I making that up? No?
They appealed, yeah, so they appealed your determination. You gave it, I believe you gave it a negative determination when you approved it, and they appealed it, giving it now a positive determination, meaning they need to come forward with a notice of intent now. So would be the next step, is that you would need to come before the commission with a notice of intent for your project, instead of the RDA application.
Form.
Yep, so you should be able to go on, there's WPA forms on their website for Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act website, and you can download their WPA form for the notice of intent form. It's more in-depth than RDA. Now, I'm not completely familiar with the site, and I don't know exactly, I think Matt did this one, so we were not really part of this original.
He's done a couple site visits, and Brandon did one the last time.
Okay. So I don't know exactly if there was a river in the back. I think there's had something to do with riverfront area, so DEP determined that this is more appropriate to do as a notice of intent.
Yeah.
It's the Mumford River.
Is it?
You can jump across it. It's a creek for all intents and purposes, but yes, it's a river. Yes.
So that's
Pretty
going
far up
forward.
West Street, so.
Yeah, our property abuts the reservoir,
Oh,
or within 50 or 70 feet of it.
okay.
Were you present? I mean, it says Mass DEP conducted an informal site meeting at the property in December, attended by you, oh, so you were present?
Yep.
Okay.
And Matthew and Brandon came out as well.
All right. During the site visit, Mass DEP staff observed alteration of jurisdictional wetland resource areas, including but not limited to bordering vegetated wetland, bank, riverfront area, RA, and land underwater bodies and waterways. Past work performed by you related to the retaining wall restoration appeared to have resulted in alteration of BVW, LUWW, and bank resource. Based on a review of this information provided to Mass DEP and observations made during the site meeting, Mass DEP finds that wetland resource areas were directly altered in association with the work conducted on the property, and accordingly enclosed find a positive superseding determination of applicability. So being that you were there, do you understand what it was that they saw that concerned them and needs to be addressed as part of the notice of intent?
Nothing was altered or changed aside from that the few of the large rocks that had spilled over, we neatly placed along, like is all the way up to the reservoir. It's rock lined all the way up. It was about 8 or 10 feet. as we saw last time, at our last meeting, the satellite imagery, we had changed nothing that was already of previous use. Actually, I think it was 02 or 03, and more cleared up than we do now. All we did is, maybe stupidly, admitted to, yes, I just placed a few of those rocks that were not brought in from anywhere else. They're all there, just scattered. We just placed them all neatly, uniformly matching what's already there. I believe that's what threw them off, that we altered or changed something.
Yeah, Brandon did express concern that we changed the trajectory of the river, which we did not.
And that
But-
was shown last time on the imagery from 20 years before we owned the property.
Yeah, this is where the river comes almost to, the river banks almost end, and it opens up into 7 or 8 acres of wetlands of swamp that then comes back into another area where the river reconvenes at the edge of our property. And he was concerned that we had changed where that river actually had ended.
But again, the imagery, everybody agreed, but last time, nothing had altered from before.
Yeah, I'm just trying to,
Move those rocks, and then we wouldn't be here. I don't know.
I just want to make sure you understand what it is you need to do to satisfy them to be able to move forward with this. So that's why I asked the question if you were there and what they said, because, you know, I don't want you to prepare a notice of intent and it's not addressing their concerns,
To be honest,
right?
nothing was addressed directly to us. It was more Brianna from the DEP and Brandon talking.
Okay.
And us with Matthew. We kind of just like overheard what they were discussing. We had just asked a couple questions, but like my wife said, that was Brandon's only thing they did voice to us was that we changed the trajectory.
Okay.
But Matthew agrees. Matthew'd done it before as well.
Yep.
We didn't.
Right, so I would recommend that if Brandon was present, that you talk to Brandon about what it is you need to do. You know, the plan, you might have to hire an engineer or a rich land surveyor to come up with an existing conditions plan showing, you know, showing the waterway, the edge of bank, the resource area, and then be able to show on that, you know, what changes are being proposed as part of the new notice of intent. But again, I would talk to Brandon about it and see, you know, because he was there.
Yeah.
He or Matt, but Brandon's more familiar with the DEP, I think, than Matt is. So I think he'd be the better person. Just, I mean, I just don't want to. I don't want you to spin your wheels, you know, and it's like.
I mean, I thought you guys had already done your due diligence and everybody was in agreement. It was news to us as well, so.
Yeah, so.
Just try to do the right thing, and I thought you guys discussed it thoroughly the last couple meetings we had, and it was determined we didn't do anything, you know, that was previously there. And they pulled up the pictures right there. It was pretty obvious that we didn't.
I'll get with Brandon and have a conversation with him about it. So I'm not familiar with your original RDA, what was actually proposed under the RDA. So I guess they just determined that what was proposed under the RDA was not appropriate for an RDA and was rather appropriate for a notice of intent, because I know a lot of it was in the
Right.
riverfront area. So I'll talk to Brandon, and then we could, I don't know if he's been in contact with the two of you at all.
I think he's on our email chain, but we haven't had any
Okay.
conversations with him.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll discuss with him, see what he says, if he has any more specific details. I just know that going forward, whatever you were proposing in your RDA is what needs to be put in the notice of intent. And now, I don't know if there was anything above and beyond what
Right,
was
there may be
proposed.
more
Exactly. So that's why
reclamation
I'm
work
gonna
that
talk
they
to
might
Brandon.
want done. You know, whether it's taking the rocks that you moved and putting them back, or. I was like, oh no, not rocks and boulders again.
Talk about rocks again.
You guys had suggested that we plant, or the determination you guys had previously said was
Yeah.
to put the 10 blueberry bushes.
Right.
Well, they chuckled, like, oh, it needs to be one of the blueberry bushes. I'm like, I don't know, that's just what they told us to do. That's just what they told us to do. I don't know, like, so, but.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
You must have dug up some rocks, right?
No, like,
Excavating.
digging of rocks, no excavation of digging of rocks. They're like,
They were just on the property and you just.
it's rock, the creek is rock line all the way down in this like 10-foot section is under question. They were like 2 feet this way, 3 feet that way. I mean, just like, they weren't brought from somewhere else on the property. They were in the general location. Now they just look nice and neat, just like the rest of it.
You neaten the site up too much,
Yeah.
you know? Mr. Neat.
Education.
So you've been in an email chain with Brandon, so I'm assuming he has your email
He's
in
the-
there?
he's in the
Okay.
chain, but I don't think he
So
has
I think he'll be able to, so I'll talk to him, and then we can shoot you an email, and then go from there, I think, so.
Grass is starting to grow, it looks nice.
How are the horses?
They're good.
Yeah?
They're very happy.
Well, one of them's good, one of them's trouble.
No.
There's always one in a crowd.
He's not moving the rocks, is he?
I'm setting up cameras, I wouldn't put past them.
They're so
Troublemaker.
sweet. And I know you say, sorry, engineer. What is it, like an environmental engineer? Like who's the type of person we need to outsource for this type of project?
You could, I mean, it could be a civil, I think people typically will get a civil engineer. I don't
Is
have
there somebody
any.
that typically works in Douglas, that you guys, a name or a firm or anything to go off of?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that come before us. There's no one typical. I can't really, like, give you a name of somebody in particular to talk to.
But you could look up local engineering firms in Douglas or Sutton, just around the area, and find someone. And usually what happens is they'll help you with the notice of intent process. They'll create a plan for you, and they could come to the meeting with you or represent you to the meeting. But they typically, if they're around this area, if they're in Massachusetts, they understand fully the form process and what to do with that process. So they will be able to help you with that. But like I said, I'll just get with Brandon to double check, make sure that, and then we can set you guys in the right direction and go from there, so.
Okay. And in terms of, I know Brianna has been the one that we've been in contact with Mass DEP. Like, do we go do other more state meetings with them? Or is it determined in this?
I think that was that was it. I think
Yeah.
they did a superseding determination. They decided what the commission decided they didn't like, so they changed it. So I believe that's all that they do. They're now hands-off. Now it's up to you to come back to the commission now with a notice of intent rather than a RDA. So you should, as far as I'm aware, you shouldn't have to do any more meetings.
But the problem is that with a new notice of intent, we will make a new decision on your new notice of intent, then they will see that.
Yes.
And so they can then review that new
I
decision.
think our first meeting, that's what Matt was going back and forth on, whether it was required to do this or just do the RDA that we did the first time. And then it was determined at our first meeting to no, just do the RDA, and obviously that wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So there we are. Wait to hear from Brandon and get that stuff filed and.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks for coming. Thanks for waiting.
Yes. Would have moved you up first.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to come back to us.
Oh, no, thank you for your help. You
Yes,
guys
you
have
guys-
been
yeah, you guys have been
wonderful.
helpful.
We just had a little
Through the whole
confusion at
process.
the superseding application for
Yeah.
determination of applicability, but we'll
Yeah.
get.
It happens once in a while. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen once in a while.
Okay.
Maybe you should get a lottery ticket.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good night.
you. You too. Good night.
Can we postpone the minutes to the next meeting?
Yes, definitely.
Make a motion to postpone the minutes to the next meeting of April 28th. Right.
Motion's been made and seconded to postpone the meeting minutes till the next meeting.
Jim Foran,
Kate Thompson, I.
Josiah Birchak.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Yes.
I have one thing.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
you're out of time.
I'm so sorry.
I won.
It'll be very quick. But I just,
No, it's okay.
I want to put it on the record for you guys to have here. So we received a complaint form into conservation for some trees getting cut down at 77 Davis Street. It's where that dispensary is, right on the corner. There was a little bunch of trees that got cut down. They weren't sure if it was within the buffer zone or not. I do have just a couple pictures I can show you real quick.
Take your time. You're fine.
You're like, let's go.
No.
Tip off is in 3 minutes.
Okay, so let me get this up.
We have some orders to sign too before everyone.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I haven't feedback on any of that.
All right, so this is the area, this is looking, so this is town property, where I'm standing, taking this picture, and then you're looking at the dispensary here. So this area is where the trees were cut down. And there was maybe tops, I think 15, they were small, it seems that they were all small pines. Then it was kind of pushed to the side here. So I believe it was the owner of the dispensary who then cut the trees on town property. Either way, I paced it out, and it's about with me kind of going like, because then it goes down a hill. So here's looking at where the trees are. Now I'm going to pan through the woods here. It drops pretty significantly, and then the wetland is right at the bottom of this. So with me pacing it out, going around and such, it's plus or minus about 120 feet to the wetland line from where the trees have been cut. So I think what Brandon and I, when we discussed it, I think it's either right on the 100-foot buffer, close to the 100-foot buffer. We think it's probably out of the commission's hands, but I just wanted to make you guys known. This is just going to have to go over to the town for whoever to figure out. But that's all.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Other than that, I have nothing else.
God, just I know what you want to do. Go for it.
And make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second that.
Oh.
You got me.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn.
Jim Corneye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Josiah Bircheye.
Mark Mangum, aye.